love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, J.Go, health and lifestyle coach and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. We are getting back into a series that is one of my favorite. It's the BCB Alum Where Are They Now series, where we reach out to BCB alum, whether they'd graduated a year ago, a few months ago, and just see where their life is at now. Because you guys should know by now, the transformations I focus on with my clients and with you all, it's not about just the physical. It is so much more. So I love being able to keep in touch with my alum. Basically, as soon as you work with me, you're stuck with me. So today for our alum, we have a very special guest, Amy Fabriziani. So we call her A-Fab because she is absolutely fabulous and it just goes really well with her nickname. And not only is she a BCB alum, but she is also my new and first co-coach to Body Confident Blueprint, my signature coaching program. I have loved having her on the team. I love that she has been through BCB and she's been through a lot of things that so many of you women and folks that have been here listening have also been through as well. So her story is very powerful. You're going to love getting to know her better. And my ladies in BCB, you know how she is. I love her energy. It's just absolutely infectious. You can't help but smile when you're with her. And she has a really, really great story. So I'm looking forward to all of you getting to know her better. Feel free to reach out to her. She's like one of the most open people that you'll ever meet. So if anything she talks about as far as her experience with diet culture, her own personal difficulties when it comes to her body self-image, her mental and physical health, like she loves helping people, so please reach out to her on her Instagram. I'll share her Instagram in the show notes. And then, of course, you'll have the pleasure of working with her in BCB if you are on the wait list. We are opening up Body Confident Blueprint very, very soon, literally this month, the month of January. If you're watching this after the fact, it might already be open. So go ahead and check. I'll put both links in there. The link is going to be for the wait list. And then, so make sure you get on there. And if you also just want to check out the sales page and learn what is BCB all about, look at some more testimonials besides just Amy's. You can click the main sales page as well. Audio is a little bit different than normal because it is through a live that we did this interview, but you can still feel her energy. So even if it feels a little bit, not as high quality, the content is quality. So getting to hear her story is going to be worth it. I appreciate you guys, listening and sharing how hearing the alum stories have really resonated with you. And it's what's kept this series going. So keep the feedback up. I love hearing from each and every one of you. And hopefully I will see your application this month. Talk to you soon. Enjoy. Amy, I really want you to just talk a little bit about, introduce yourself, and then we're going to talk about BCB and kind of your experience. So tell us about you.
So where do I begin? Let's see. I am a small town girl from a town in Dover, Pennsylvania. Went to college for elementary and special ed. Met my love of my life in his dirty fraternity basement. Went to a fraternity party, and I went and I met him. So here we are, married for 16 years, I guess it is. And we have three kids. They're in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. And we have lots of puppy dogs. And did I say we live in North Carolina now? We love it. And hopefully you can't ever say ever, but I don't ever want to go back to dreary Pennsylvania because we love it.
No offense to the Northerners, but North Carolina is where it's at.
Right. But throughout my whole life and kind of, I guess, how we got connected is I've always struggled. I had I had trauma as a child, and went through a lot of that, had body confidence issues my whole life, I could say. I'll be 40 this year. And I look back and I was like, probably a good 32 years, I was I've always struggled. Like, I've always felt like I didn't look the way I saw myself in pictures. Like,
Yep.
when people would say things, my one aunt would say, "Oh, you're getting a little pudgy," or like things like
We
that.
all
And
have
I
that
was
one aunt.
never like, yeah, I'm short, and I was a gymnast, I was a cheerleader. Like, I just have that body makeup, and I always wanted to look like someone else instead of just wanting to look like the person I was meant to be, which came about because of BCB. Let's just say that.
Oh, I love your story. It's okay. So one thing I want to tap on before we get into BCB is like you came from a space, and I related to this so much of like, cheerleading and gymnastics, and you were bomb. Like you're really, really good and athletic, but we're in that environment often like our body is on display, right? You're always constantly hyper focusing on it. So for years, I mean, how many years were you cheering and doing
I
gymnastics?
cheered since I was in second grade. I started gymnastics at 4, and then I danced through all that too. And then I went on to college, and I cheered in college, co-ed, and I only cheered my freshman year because it was so toxic. It was bad.
Mm.
Eat an apple a day, and that's it. Like, get into this, your size
Ugh.
2, but you need to be in a size 0 skirt. Like,
Yep.
actually, what really should have happened was the boys should have just lifted a little heavier. So screw us better, right?
Boom, exactly. Get a little stronger, boys. Oh my gosh, yeah, and I can relate to that struggle too, in not as a cheerleader, but in the dancing community. Like I was a dancer from kindergarten all the way through high school, and not always hyper focusing on my body, whether it was like the pressure or just in my own head, it was constantly there. So you mentioned that like BCB, so Body Confident Blueprint Program, which you guys know my signature program. Amy went through it. So I want you to kind of talk about like what made you decide to jump in? What made you decide to join the program? And then your experience as well. We'll kind of go into that.
Well, so after like having the 3 kids and everything, like, and just my whole life, it's been one diet and program, and try this and order this and drink this and do all these things. And sometimes it would work for a tiny bit. Sometimes it would work for a year. Sometimes it would work for months. And it was just this constant struggle. Like, what's the next thing? What's the next new thing? Like, that's going to work for me. That's the thing that's going to just change everything. And it'll put me where I'm supposed to be. And I'll be the right size I'm supposed to be. And it never happened. It never happened. And I would go up and down and up and down, and I'd look back on pictures, and I told you this, like, I'd look back in pictures in college, and I'm like, why can't I look like that? I just want to look like her again. I want to be in that space and that fitness level and this and that. And I'm thinking, though, now looking back, like, that girl was a wreck up here, getting up, working out twice a day, not controlling the eating. Not eating is what I am notoriously known for,
Yep.
like, just not eating and destroying myself. And I didn't realize how bad I had messed myself up in my body with my metabolism until I found you.
Hey.
Hey. It's crazy because you find someone that I don't want to say this like meanly, but actually knows what they're talking about, instead of the whole, like, they put things out there for you to go to the next thing. It's a money making thing. Like, the fitness
Yep.
and weight loss industry is
So much.
$1 billion business,
And
but
growing.
yeah, but really, like, what works for you doesn't work for me, doesn't work for that person, and you got to find out, because it's so individualized, because we're so different.
Yep.
That's where
Exactly.
I found you from a friend that went to college with you. She was actually like my pelvic floor doctor.
Which I thought was so cool.
Right? And I had stalked you for 2, 3 years, I think
I
it was.
remember you told me, you were like, yeah, I've been
Yeah,
following you for a while. I'm like,
yeah,
what? You've not said anything to me. And now we're
right.
like,
Yep. Yep. So there, and then I just, like, I got my personal training certification because I thought, well, the more I know, the better I'll be able to do. I'll be able to fix myself, right?
yep.
And I mean, I can help all the people that I want to achieve all these goals and this and that, but it wasn't like, it wasn't working in me, like in
Mm-hmm.
me. So then I found you with BCB, which kind of changed everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you jumped into BCB. You went all in. What was that experience like for you? So getting on a call, we got onto discovery call. This is back in February of last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I, you know how you're always like kind of nervous, like you're like, this stranger wants to talk to me on the phone. And I'm like, look, I've never met a stranger for the most part, right?
True, it's you,
I'll,
Amy.
I'll tell you all the things and you can tell me all the things. But that call was so like, it just made me feel like you understood what I was saying. You were going to be able to help me, like all of me, not just the weight loss, not just it was such a mental thing, because it's so much of a mental thing. It's rooted in all these issues and things that you've
Yep.
lived your whole life. And to be able to like get off that call with you with excitement, and then
Mm-hmm.
also just being like, I found what I need to do. Like for
Yeah.
all those years, like 30 some years, like
Mm-hmm.
trying this, and now I'm like, whoa, like I found what is gonna actually work. Right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I still remember that call because, well, I'm not about surface level conversation, and so I
Yeah.
can usually tell. I can usually tell in the beginning, like, this is gonna work, this is gonna be a good thing, versus like, I don't know if they're ready for this yet, and that's okay. And but when we were on that call together, you were immediately, open about, all the years you've been dealing with this, even like the trauma that brought us to this point, which I think isn't talked about enough. So we could do a whole nother podcast on that, and we will. Um, but how so often it's not addressed, even in like previous things that you've done. So I really, really was excited to start working with you. I remember getting off the call and talking to Tom, and be like, I just like the coolest girl, like just jumped in, and she's just like, I just feel like I cannot wait for her to go through this program. Like I just can't wait. And so you started it. So you started BCB. I want you to tell a little bit about your experience in the BCB community, the whole program breakdown, just your experience. I would love for you to share whatever from it that you'd like.
Yeah. So one of the things J.Go will go over this with like BCB peeps.
Mm-hmm.
It's very individualized, like I said, and we talked about like my goals and what I wanted. And really, honestly, like that was really hard because I was so used to just throwing out goals, like,
Yep.
but they didn't really, I guess they were surface level goals. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, if that happens, that happens. But like that deep rooted, like what I really want to like
Yes.
be like, when I go out of this world, like those are the things that I want like etched on my
Yes.
little tombstone or whatever.
Yes,
um,
exactly.
and so we started that, and there were other ladies in this that I have never met. And we do Zoom calls. We did ours like weekly, and then there's bi-weekly,
Mm-hmm.
all these other things. But to get the first call, I'll never forget, just like we kicked off the call and just learning, all
Yep.
the do's and the things we gotta do and track and like,
Yep.
housekeeping kind of stuff.
The kickoff
And
call.
then
Yep.
we all introduced ourselves, and I've never felt more connected. Even though
Mm.
everybody's story was a little bit different, we were all in the same boat. Like we were
Yeah.
all the same, and everybody understood everyone. Everyone was everyone's cheerleader. Everyone was there for each other. Like
Yeah.
we just lost our doggy. Like one of my
Yeah.
BCB besties, like she is a bestie of mine now. Like she's a
Yep.
lifelong friend. They say like the friends are like for a reason, a season, a lifetime. And
Mm-hmm.
these women just become, they're your true friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of, and just going through that, I don't want to give too much away. Like the things
Give
that
it
you
all away. It's fine.
routines and stuff. Like I'll give you one
Yep.
example. Like I love the Golden Girls, and J.Go's like, okay, at night, like let's focus on like you do your evening routine and get your stuff done, and you get in bed and you figure out like, is you read or whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch like 2 hours of the Golden Girls. Like what? She's
Mm-hmm.
like, I know. maybe probably not do that, because then I was having all these sleeping issues. Like I'd be
Yep.
up and I'm a zombie, and then you got to get up with the kids and all this stuff. And before BCB, it was just like this hamster wheel kind of thing. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't something that we had to like stop. Like you have to, it's a hard line in the sand where you are not doing this
How
anymore.
dare you watch television?
Right. It was a trial and error, and figuring out what worked for you. And if I
Mm-hmm.
like I want to say compromise, but we were like in the morning, like I love to snuggle the dogs, and instead of getting up, getting some movement in right away, it was like, oh, some days I need to lay down with the doggies for 30
Yep.
minutes and watch Sophia like say really bad things to Dorothy, like, and because I used to start off the day just feeling backward, like I was already defeated
Behind.
going into
Yep.
my day. And then you know what happens then? Then it's like, if you're an emotional eater, you just do this and you do that, and blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. But too, I had the BCB ladies, and I had you to go to for that. And
Yep.
it is very much an awakening of like where you want to be and where you're supposed to be, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense,
Mm-hmm.
for BCB, and really figuring out who you are and what you want. And the the side effects are losing weight. The side
Yep.
effects are like learning these routines, and falling in love with movement and doing
Yeah.
things that make you happy.
Mm.
Also, boundaries was another one we worked
That
on.
was a big one.
Oh my god, then there was that one. Because
Yes.
I am, you say it, a recovering people pleaser. Everybody else had to be happy. It didn't matter if I was.
Oh, this was so good. Yeah, no, I want to share it all, right? You want to tell everyone your experience. And I think
Yeah.
that's the most fun thing for me is like when my BCB alum get through, they're like, I want to share it all. It's never been hard to get girls to come onto these conversations because they love sharing their story because they're able to, help other people see it's possible for you. Like you said, a lot of my moms come in here and, they feel like their schedules are ran by their kids basically, right?
Oh
And they don't
yeah.
have control over it. So what would you say to like a mom who's like, a little bit thinking that like if they were to invest in themselves and do something like this, that it's selfish? Like what would you say to that mom right now,
Well,
Amy?
I remember like when I was a younger mom, like when
Mm-hmm.
they were young. I mean, I would see my grandma would say to me, Amy, you have to take time for yourself. You have to make time for yourself. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I would totally brush it off, totally
Yep.
brush it off. And I think about what it would have looked like for me and the kids and Justin if I would have even just took that time and maybe even had other ladies to support me, even if
Yep.
it was an hour a week or whatever it might be, an hour a week on Zoom. I didn't even have to leave the house. You can be like in your clothing that the
Come
kids
as you are.
on,
Literally.
whatever, or you didn't shower that day, or you haven't for two, whatever it is. I think that it's so hard to trust that this is something that is going to help you be a better woman, wife, person,
Yep.
mom,
Yep.
all of it. And it's not that you're taking time away from them. You're able to put that whatever hour a week or whatever, you
Mm-hmm.
spend doing whatever. You take that, and it almost opens up more hours in the day and more
Yeah.
time, and you're more present, and you understand.
Mm.
I don't know, I'm not articulating this right. It's like,
No, I love what you said about being more present because I think that's a big thing too. Is a lot of times, like I said, it's like it feels selfish if I'm giving up this amount of time or if I'm doing this. But if you're able to be more present with the time that you are around your people, whether it's your partner, your coworkers, your kids, it's going to be so much more valuable. And then you taking that time for yourself is what allows you to do that, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
have had something. I mean, even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I mean, I wish I would have had something. And I now, being on this journey with you and to help,
Yep.
he's like, I just want to like, just come on, you can do it. Like, you can do it. And there's no regrets. Like, there's
Mm-mm.
you just want more. You're like a sponge and you're just like, I can't believe I waited so long. But
Hmm.
that's another thing, the regret. Like,
We talk about that.
don't have the regret. You are where you're supposed to be. And like, if you're seeing this, there's your sign. Here's your sign.
Yes.
Thing. So yeah.
Oh, yes. And gosh, I love hearing you mirror your experience just because, like, again, I can relate to so much of it, but now you're on the other end of things. So, like, how how do you feel like BCB impacted you individually? And then we'll get into like why we decided with co-coaching and kind of taking it on even further.
Well, I mean, it's, I guess, cliche. Like people are like, I'm like, I'm a better mom, and I
Mm.
am. I
Oh
am a
yeah.
like I know that instead of running myself ragged before I have to do like taxi cab,
Oh yeah.
like I was looking for my taxi cab hat, like
No
uh,
joke.
I know like something we set up was like I have my 30 minutes to my hour of like I want to read or if I want to
You
sit down
time.
and watch the Golden Girls, and not only doing that but not feeling guilty that I'm doing
Yes.
that because I should be cleaning the house or I should be doing this or I should be doing that. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're you're you should be doing that. Who told you that?
That mom guilt.
It's yourself that told you that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not, I think navigating through all of that has been huge and has affected our whole house.
Mm.
It has also spilled over into the kids too.
Really,
Like,
really.
they know, like, our kids are soccer players and dancers and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they know, like, Antonia will come home from school and cheer practice, and then she'll have dance later. And she's like, I'm just going to go relax a little bit and chill out. And I'm like, okay, okay. Like, yeah,
Oh.
do it. Same thing with like Anella had a huge soccer tournament this past weekend. And
Mm-hmm.
yesterday she was like, I'm really sore. I just want to like relax. I need
Mm-hmm.
to like, she was like, will you massage my legs?
Oh.
Like, thing that they see me not putting off the things that my body's telling me I need and my mind is
Yep.
that I need. They are seeing that and it's spilling over into their lives, which
Awesome.
is huge because like you always want more for like the people that you love. You want
Yep.
them to have more and to have better and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But like that stuff is it's not like I sat down and taught them. I mean,
You
I
showed.
feel like every single like 11th grade or 10th grade girl in high school should have this program in their lives.
Yeah.
Especially with like how like all that kind of stuff like mental like health and all that stuff. But if this is something that I can do and I have done to pass on to put into myself, but then to even to Julio, I mean he's a boy but he's
Yeah.
still doing it, and he's going to even be better for the people that he has in his life too.
Yep, exactly. Oh, that's such a great point. I'm so glad you brought this up, Amy, because like I said, it's as a mom, it's hard. I mean, as a woman, it's hard. Like we're trying to hold all these roles for other people that a lot of times years go by and we get lost in the process. And it's hard for us to be present or feel confident in our skin. And so how do you feel like BCB impacted that just like within yourself? So you kind of talked about your kids and your husband and everything like, but as far as like self confidence and you being able to do things, like how do you feel like BCB impacted you?
What I was thinking about this, and I was like,
What?
oh, like how people say like zero fucks given. Like
Yes.
when you come from
Who says that?
get out. When you come from just you had so many, and everything was about everybody
Everyone
else,
else. Yep.
and it shifts to, is it important to me? And it's not mean to not give a shit. Like it's
It's
not,
not.
if it's not meant to be, it's not for you or whatever those things and
Yeah.
stuff are. But if that's something that doesn't light you up and make you happy, don't feel guilty about saying, no, I just want to stay in on Friday night. I don't want to go,
Yep.
or I don't want to do this or whatever. I mean, it's hard to tell people that just how this changed, because I wish I had a camera. I wish I would have documented this whole like blogged it or whatever or
Yeah.
something. And the confidence that I have, that when because I have those inner mean girls that like, I mean, I have like four, like they all have multiple personalities. Like some days I look great, and some days that like that negative self-talk was a huge one for me. And that has changed, because the things that you would never say to someone that you love or another child or something, we say to ourselves 20 times harsher, and we mean it, like we deep down mean it. And that has changed tremendously for me. Tremendously.
Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, you can just hear the passion in your voice as you talk about it. And that's something that I think is, I mean, you can't, it's from you. You have such a heart and a passion for impacting others. And I really relate to that because, I know when we're nurturers and wanting to support other people, a lot of times we give all we have till there's nothing left. And so I remember, like, even when you joined BCB, we'd already kind of like gotten to know each other, and you were like, I want to help this person join and this person join. And I was like, yes, I definitely want that, but I want it to still be focused on you. Remember that? We were like, we need to still focus on your outcome, your goals, because it's really easy for us as, nurturing individuals to go back into that, like, oh, I'm here for them. I'm showing up for them, but it's all about you. Right, Amy?
Right. Exactly. Like when I went to the retreat.
The retreat. Yes. Her shirt is the retreat shirt.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's the first time, and I've gone on retreats. I've helped do retreats. I've done things before. I told J.Go, like, that's the first time I came away like retreated. Like I let everything get poured into me. I soaked it up, and I came home, and instead of like being a turtle in a shell for a few days afterwards because it was too people-y or whatever it was, like I was so rejuvenated, and I just felt, even more alive and just ready to like, I can do this. Like,
yes,
different, and it's a challenge, but like instead of it knocking you on your butt and you can go after it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that was like the highest compliment. I remember when you said that, I was like so pumped. And even with BCB, like I remember you were graduating and you were so just on fire and excited, and you had your personal training. You were like, I know I want to help other people, but I recognized finally that I needed to help myself first, and like you're continuing to do that. And then as we talked about it in BCB, I'm like, okay, like this girl she can't leave because the passion, and like you said, you want to come through the screen and squeeze people. And so that's when I asked you to be my intern for BCB. I was like, okay, would you want to do this? Like, when I asked you that, I want to know, like, what was your first thought? Where you're like, this girl's crazy, I'm not doing that?
Well, at first I was like looking around the room, is talking to me? Like,
why me?
Right. And then my BCB knowledge kicked in, and I was like, why not me? Like, I can help other women.
Yes, you can. You have
them. I can love on them and help them and teach them through my experiences and stuff. So J.Go was like, do you want to be a co-coach? What do you think about doing that? And I was like, yes.
It's so awesome. When do we start? No, but it also, like, I knew your background, like, you come from, doing like the fitness coaching, but it was where you were doing a lot for a little, like not a lot of people were able to show up in the same way. And so for you to be a part of this, like as an intern, like you were showing up for these women in such an amazing way through BCB and supporting them. And also, like you said with me, is like, she gets it. That was something you said about me. And that's what a lot of the girls said about you. They were like, she gets it. She's been through it. She knows what it's like. She is a mom. She's had the struggle, and she's continuing to show up for herself, even when hardship happens, even when things come up, right?
Right, exactly. Like, even when, like, I swear, like, there's a reason why I went through BCB, and then we did all this, like, from February, like, everyone says 2020 was horrible, and it was. Oh, absolutely. It was horrible. Yeah. But even, like, from like March to like, I mean, I can't even begin to say the things that it's like, is the end of the world, like literally thing in this house? Like, what is
Yep.
happening? Like
Yep.
one day after another. And I know, like, because I struggle with mental health issues and I am
Mm-hmm.
on medication, see a therapist, a doctor, and all that fun. But I know that if I didn't have BCB under my belt and I didn't have the community, and I didn't have you, it would have been totally different. Like
Yeah.
these would have been totally different. And
Yep.
I'm so grateful for that. And that's what I want to help other people
Yep.
able to, like, even when times are really shitty, like you can still live and not feel guilty about it, and do what you need to do. And if it's the bare minimum some days, that is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're literally living it, and that's why I'm so excited to just take you on as a co-coach because it's more than just the knowledge. Because there are so many people with their PT certifications and things like that. It's truly about having a level of empathy for others that not a lot of people possess, and you have it. That's it. Like you have it. You are like people's biggest cheerleader. But my goal was like, I wanted you to be your biggest cheerleader. And so seeing you continue to do that is so powerful. And it's what inspired me to be like, I mean, I meditate and pray on things all the time. I was like, I feel like this is the right decision. I'm really like think that's a good thing. And I mean, you started with the internship, and I haven't looked back. She has done it where she's done the yo-yo dieting, had that experience, struggling with confidence. I've been there, and then going through BCB, having that transformation, and then as an intern, be able to see the transformation happen for others, which is I see it as like one of the most. I just feel so lucky to have that opportunity, to see these women go through this. And now you're going to be taking an even bigger part where you're just like in it and really supporting the girls as we're going into coaching calls and as we're like creating this community. It's like, I just know it's going to be such an added thing for the girls to have people who have been through BCB. So I'm so excited.
When you say like we only accept this amount of people, and I'm just like, but there's more out there. But you know what? Like, kudos to you, because where I was before, it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
bring them in, bring them in, bring them in, bring them in. And I'm like, no, you can't do that, because you can't
Mm-mm.
truly like reach them and give them the attention that they need
Yep.
and deserve.
Yeah. And I think that that's the other thing, Amy, is like you said, to recognize with your journey, like it's okay, like where you're at, even where you were before, there was a reason for it. You had to go through it. There was certain lessons. And when I'm on these discovery calls with the ladies, I've talked to you about this before. It's like sometimes they're not there yet. They're just not there. They're not ready for this transformation. And that just means not now, not ever. And so I really care about, like you said, how important that group was for you, the group of women. I'm very intentional about who I take on. And then the other thing I wanted to say about this, because you got to see like different groups, is like I'm intentional about who I put into what group. Because a lot of girls come in here and they're like, well, I'm older than J.Go, or or I don't have kids, or I do have kids, or I don't care about losing weight, or I do want to lose weight. And so I'm super intentional about that. And you understand like the intake form and everything like that. What are your, like, how did that feel for you to have that kind of like, grouping and seeing that happen on the other end as well?
I mean, if anybody that's listening has ever done anything else, you're just kind of thrown into a pot kind of thing.
Yep.
And like what you have done, and then I've watched you go through that process, like, I mean, looking and being like, oh, they said this, like
Mm-hmm.
with their goals and even things that they like really enjoy doing. And
Yep.
you putting people that are going to connect like right off the bat is so helpful to help them
Mm-hmm.
just put down any guards they might have. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important. And I mean, you do such a great job, like grouping people, but like
Thanks.
just to have that like small, like little group too, but then to have your
Yeah,
people too
both. Mm-hmm.
is, it's like your little like group that you would sit in with in class
A
or
little
something
table.
when you were in school. Yeah, your little group of four, your little pod. And
Yes.
but then you have your whole class and you're just more connected that way. And that helps you to be able to get through things and ask questions like, did you feel this way? Or did you understand this? Or help me with this. Can you send me a recipe on this? Like, kind of thing. And
Yep.
I think it's really intentional the way it's.
Absolutely. And you don't have to go at it alone. And I think that's really cool. And I think there's power in that community, and you're only going to add to that community aspect. So I'm so excited for you to be a part of it. I just want everyone to just realize like how lucky they are that they're going to get to experience,
and
you know,
how
having
I am to get to work with you. And
it's going to be great.
That, you know.
You're so sweet. Well, I'm so excited to have you. I cannot wait to see just like the girls get to experience having like double support and everything through all of that. Now there are some people, I'm seeing them save the posts. I'm seeing them start the application, but not finish it. So they're on the fence. They're on the fence about like getting on a call with me, or on the fence about whether the program's right for them or not. What would you say to that girl? So think about her right now and literally speak to her. What would you say to her about she's on the fence about BCB?
Well, first of all, you're seeing this, or you've came across your post, or you checked out the little application for a reason. Mm-hmm. And there is, just because you schedule a discovery call and you get on the call with you, it doesn't mean like you're locked in and you've got to do this and you're bound to this. Like, it's literally like getting on a call with like your high school buddy, like to like talk, because you're welcoming and open, and anything that you are told is in confidence. It's, you know, and too, like, if you're like, this might not be the right fit, I might not be the right one to help you because what you're going through is I have someone that will be able to help you better. Do that. Like, that's a test, like, because some people would just be like, yeah, whatever. No,
I'll take your money.
You truly want them to be able to get what they need out of this. So pull the trigger and just get on the call and just chat. Like, it is literally a chat about yourself. Like, you just kind of say what's going on and this and that. I mean, it's more comfortable than, like, I don't know, anybody. Like, really, like, you would tell the same thing. Well, you're going to tell more, but like to your doctor when you go in for a physical or something, like it's relaxed, laid back, like, just
exactly.
You know, things you don't want to share at that point, you don't have to.
It's okay. Yeah.
And I remember you saying that, like, it's just where you are, where you're at. Just tell me what's going on, kind of thing.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh.
Pull the trigger.
You said pull the trigger. No, I'm so glad that we can have this conversation. I knew, it's so funny. Like, we just flow. That's why it's going to work out so well. I'm just so excited. But yeah, definitely make sure you guys fill out the application. Feel free to DM Amy if you guys have any questions at all about her experience, or just want a little more clarity on anything, or if you're not sure and you feel more comfortable messaging her, do it. Otherwise, you message me too. The link's in both of our bios for the application. And as soon as you fill that out and we look over it, we'll get you scheduled on a discovery call with me.
I'm so excited about this first group that I get to do this with you with, like in this.
Yes, above the intern position into co-coaching. I'm so pumped.
Wow, so much love and support. Like, I don't know how I could have gotten through life without J.Go.
Without these two people. Yeah, J.Go and A-Fab. Also, the fact that you came with a nickname, we were done. I was like, all right, you're A-Fab. That's easy. Like, we're
mostly because nobody can say the last name, even me. Right?
I struggle to spell it sometimes, but I'm working on it. No, I love it. Well, Amy, thanks for being here today. Thank you for being so open and just, of course, being you as always. Guys, make sure you follow her. She's super open. My favorite thing is your hip hop dances when you're in the gym, because she listens to old school.
Tupac Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. Also, I never know what day it is.
Wait, no. Today's Tuesday. We're good.
Tuesday. It's Tupac Tuesday.
All right, yeah, go check her out for Tupac Tuesday. Ask us if you have any questions, and make sure you get your applications in sooner rather than later, because spots are limited. Amy, I appreciate you, and I will talk to you shortly.
Bye.
Bye, love. Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here, and honestly, don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at J.Go Fit Life. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jgofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.